Welcome to our 30-minute Yogalates practice for pelvic stability and glute strength. Today's class is a slow-paced, nourishing flow that is accessible for all levels. So when you're ready, let's get started in a comfortable seated position, closing the eyes, lengthening the spinal column, gifting yourself this moment to set the tone for your practice, deciding how you would like to feel today. Mindfully placing your palms atop of your knees, the lower thighs. On your inhalation, glide your palms up towards your hip bones as you open up the chest, drawing the shoulder blades close to one another. Exhale, glide your palms towards your knees, curling round the spine, chin to chest. Taking a few more rounds of this gentle variation of cat and cow. Waking up the spinal column. Slightly engaging the abdominals, using this opportunity to open up the heart space and to release any emotions that might be stagnating around this region. On your next inhalation, elevate the torso and cactus the arms out wide at shoulder height, palms facing forwards. Inhale, open the chest, gaze up. Exhale, curl and round, forearms together, and again. So finding a similar movement. Now we've got the opportunity to work the upper back and the shoulders a little more. Energizing the body. Welcoming in healing frequencies. Beautiful work. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, side bend, lowering one palm down, stretching the torso. Inhale, center. And find your side bend in the opposite direction. Inhale, center. Exhale, bend over in the opposite direction. Pause here for one mindful breath. Softening the facial features. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend. Taking our final side bend. Beautiful, returning to center. And let's come to lie down on our right hand side, propping yourself up on your right forearm. Stacking your hips, creating a 90-degree angle with your legs. So we're aligning the ankles with the knees and the knees with the hips. Right elbow is underneath right shoulder. Turning on the core, you could keep your arm raised, maybe lower it onto your hip or rest your left palm on the mat. From here, we're going to lift our top leg and lower with control. So we're keeping the top foot pointed, and we're really just raising that right leg to about hip height, keeping it level so the shin is parallel to the earth, and we're lowering with control. The rest of the body is stable here. It's just that top leg that is moving. So we want to ensure that both hip bones are still facing forwards. If you notice that the top hip begins to externally rotate and open out behind you, this is an indication that we've taken it a little bit too far. Now let's keep that leg elevated at hip height. Keep the 90-degree angle. Guide your leg back so that you align your knee with your hip and return it forwards. So we guide the leg back and we bring it forwards just like this. You can pair this movement with your breath. Maybe you send your knee back with every inhalation or maybe with every exhalation. Finding what works for you. Using the breath here as an anchor to help you stay grounded. Again, we want to keep that leg level at hip height. Nice controlled breaths. Let's go for 3 more rounds, finding your cadence. Okay, friends, from here, returning your leg to our starting point, raise it, lower to hip height, guide the leg back, and raise and lower. So we bring it forward, we find one pulse, we bring the leg back, and find another pulse. If it's more comfortable, you could always flex your top foot here, maybe relax it, point it, find what works for you. The intention is to just really isolate the movement in the top leg. This is a beautiful way to help us strengthen the outer glutes as well as mobilize the hip joint. Checking in with the upper body, noticing if you're beginning to slouch. Really press firmly into your forearm to help you lift up and out of the shoulder girdle. Keep going. Using this opportunity to remind yourself of just how strong and capable you are. Maybe inviting a smile onto the lips. Let's go for 2 more rounds in each direction. Final round. Beautiful work. Let's keep our leg out in front. And from here, let's find small pulses up and down. Let's go for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, last 2, and 1. Guide your leg back and let's find our pulses again, lifting that leg up and down. So we're only ever lowering it to hip height and then finding a small pulse. Beautiful work. Lower the leg down, massage out your glutes. You might find it helpful to now lower down so that you're resting on your upper arm, propping your head up in your palm. We're going to keep our bottom leg, our right leg, at the 90-degree angle. Now let's extend our top leg, our left leg, pointing the foot, reaching the toes towards the edge of your mat, keeping the leg at hip height, hips are stacked. From here, bring your leg forward, flex the foot, and guide it back to where we started. So we point the toes, we bring it forward so that the leg is aligned with the right knee, and we glide it back. The leg is staying at hip height the entire time. If it's too much coordination to swap between pointing the toes and flexing the foot, you can just keep your foot in the same position the entire time. This is just an extra challenge to help us stay focused. Checking in with the rest of the body, it's just the top leg that is moving. Let's go for 4 more rounds in each direction. Okay, friends, adding on. On your next inhalation, bring your leg forward. Find one pulse, lower your leg to hip height, and guide your leg to our starting point. So we find a pulse, we bring the leg forward, we pulse here, lower the leg, and extend our leg towards the back of the mat. So a similar movement that we started with our bent knees. If ever this feels like too much, know that you can return to that variation. And if possible, maintaining the action with our feet. So every time we glide the leg back, we flex the foot, really driving into the heel. And when we bring it forwards, we point the foot, finding length. Again, being sure that the hips are stacked. Steady breaths, steady movements. You are so capable. A few more, stay with it. Let's go for one final round. Okay friends, now let's keep our leg extended towards the edge of the mat. Point the toes, and let's begin to create some small circles. We're here for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, finding your longest leg line, pointing the toes, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful work. Let's swap the direction of our circles. Let's go for 10. Creating length. 8, 7, 6, 5. Relaxing the face. 4, 3, 2. Final circle, beautiful work. Flex the foot and let's find some small pulses up and down. 10 pulses. You can do it. Really driving into your heel to help you activate the muscles of your leg. Great work. Bring your leg forwards. Point the toes. If you need to drop your leg for a moment to reconnect to the breath, I'm doing that. Now let's raise our leg and find our circles in one direction. Keeping the hips stacked, softening the upper body. Let's go for 3 more in this direction. And swap the direction of your circles. Feel your leg growing longer. Breathing into any regions of sensation. We're almost done. Okay, flex the foot. Big toe facing towards the mat, and let's find some small pulses to finish it off. We're here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Massage out your hip, your glute. Beautiful work. Let's come up into a mermaid stretch. Left palm on the mat, bending over to the left, opening the right side body. Inhale, release. Placing your left foot on the outer edge of your right thigh. Left palm behind you as we come into a spinal twist. To intensify this stretch, you can place your right tricep on the outer edge of your left thigh. Finding length. Breathing into the outer glutes. Doing your best to soften the lower body here. While it's on, gently release and let's find a nice windshield wiper with our legs. Really mobilizing the outer hips here. Being sure that your knees and your toes track in the same direction. Great work, friends. Let's come into a tabletop position and just find a few gentle circles guiding the shoulders towards the wrists and the hips towards the glutes. A few times in one direction and then swapping the direction of your circles. This can be a really intense stretch just after we've worked the outer hips, so be gentle with yourself. Now let's find a few gentle hip and knee circles with that left leg. Mobilizing the outer hip, keeping the core strong. Swapping the direction, gifting ourselves this space to reconnect with the breath, to slow down the mind, and to channel positive energy. Sink the hips back. Let's take one mindful breath in child's pose. Letting it all go. When you're ready, coming up into a comfortable seated position. And let's take this series on the other side. This time coming to lie down on your left side. Propping yourself up on your left forearm, stacking the hips, core is engaged, We're aligning our knees with our ankles and our knees with our hips. Okay, friends, finding a positioning with your right palm. And when you're ready, let's begin to lift and lower the right leg. If it's possible, keeping your foot pointed, keeping your foot in a plantar flexion. We're raising it to just about hip height, and then we're lowering down with control. So we're raising the entire leg. We're keeping the shin and the thigh parallel to the earth when we lift up, and lowering down with intention. It's natural if you already feel a bit of sensation on this side just after we've worked the supporting leg. Now let's keep our leg lifted, maintain that 90-degree angle. We're going to bring the leg forward and guide the leg behind us. So every time we guide the leg back, we're aligning our knee with our hip, with our torso, and then we're bringing it forwards to our starting point. Really beginning to feel some heat in the outer glutes here. Nice steady movements. Keep the rest of the body stable and supported. Okay, friends, let's go for 3 more rounds in each direction. On your next inhalation, bring your leg forward, find a pulse, lower to hip height, guide the leg back, and pulse your leg once. So we bring it forward, we lift, we return to hip height, we guide the leg back, we lift, and we return to hip height just like this. If it's helpful, you can always guide your gaze towards your leg so that you know what's going on every time you send that leg back. Being sure to raise the entire leg and not just the knee. So the force is really coming from the outer hips, the glutes. Being mindful to press your left forearm, your palm, your fingertips firmly into the mat so that we're supporting the shoulders here. Okay, friends, we've got 3 more rounds on this side. Stay with it. Well done. On your next inhalation, bring your leg forward to our starting point and let's find our small pulses. We're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, keeping your leg parallel to the earth. Hip is engaged. We're here for 2. And 1. Well done. Guide your leg back. And again, let's find our pulses. So the starting level is hip height. We're using glute strength to help us lift that leg, and then we're lowering it to hip height. Final few pulses. Keep the rest of the body stable. Last 2. Beautiful work. Lower down, massage out the glute. You might like to join me in lowering down onto your upper arm, supporting your head with your left palm. Taking a moment to restack the hips, engaging the core, the lower abdomen. Let's extend our right leg towards the back of the mat. Inhale, bring the leg forwards, point the toes. Exhale, flex the foot and glide it back. Inhale, raise your leg forwards. Exhale, send it back. Every time you flex your foot, really driving into the heel to help us engage the muscles of the legs. Nice, steady movements, keeping your leg at hip height. Okay, friends, we've got 6 more rounds and then we're adding on. This is our final side, so really make this count. I am already feeling the heat. I imagine you are too. Use the breath here to help you reconnect with your inner tranquility. Use the breath to help you stay focused, and to remind yourself of just how strong and capable you are. Well done. On your next inhalation, point the toes, bring your leg forwards, aligning the knees. Find a small pulse. Lower your leg to hip height, glide the leg back, and find your pulse. So we bring it forward, we lift, we lower, we bring it back, we lift and lower, just like this. So if possible, keeping your foot pointed every time you glide it forwards, and flexing your foot every time you glide it back. You are doing so well. This is such a great exercise to help us support the muscles that surround the pelvis. So this is going to help us when we walk, when we perform daily chores, all of the activities that we love. Feel yourself receiving the nourishing benefits of this practice. Stay with this exercise. Let's go for 2 more rounds in each direction, and then we'll be adding on. Okay friends, keeping our right leg pointing towards the back of the mat, and let's find our small circles. So again, we're keeping that hip bone, the top hip facing forwards, hips are stacked. Doing your best to draw the leg out away from the body, finding your longest leg line here. Wonderful. Let's swap the direction of our circles. Notice if you begin to arch the lower back, really doing your best to draw your belly button towards the spine here. And let's go for 3 more circles. Now let's flex the foot and find our pulses, pressing into the heel as you drive your leg up and down. The starting point is hip height, so we're raising it a few centimeters and lowering down. Beautiful work. Point the toes, bring your leg forwards. If you need to lower your leg down for a moment, connect with the breath. When you're ready, raise the leg and let's find our circles. We are on the home stretch, my friend. Stay with it. Let's go for 3, 2. Last circle in this direction. And swap the direction. Well done. We have one final exercise after this movement. Breathe. Keep that leg active. Keep the core switched on. Let's go for 2, 1. Well done. Flex your foot, big toe towards the mat, and let's find our final set of pulses. Driving into your heel, keeping the leg active, keeping that leg high. Last 2. And 1, well done. Lower down, massage out the hip. Let's find our mermaid stretch. And now let's find our seated spinal twist. So guiding your right foot to the outer edge of your left thigh. Left hand grabbing a hold of your right leg, or you can place your tricep along the outer edge of your thigh. Opening your chest to the right. Lengthening the spine, 1 breath here. Excellent work. Mindfully uncross the legs and let's find our windshield wipers as we mobilize the outer hips. Gently working your way into a tabletop position, and this time let's lower our hips over to one side, return to center, and lower them in the opposite direction. It's natural if the opposite knee begins to raise. This is really an invitation to get deep into the IT band, the outer glutes, the outer hips. Let's go for one more round. Well done, coming to tabletop. And let's find our knee and hip circles with the right leg. Let's go for 3 rounds in each direction. And swapping the direction of your circles, keeping the rest of the body stable. It's just the right leg that's moving. Now let's tuck the toes under, walk the palms out in front, send your hips up as you straighten the legs, coming into downward facing dog. It might feel nice to find a little bit of movement here. And when you're ready, inhale, float the right leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to right wrist, lower the pelvis and the legs down as we prepare for pigeon pose. You have the option to stay upright, being sure to keep the lower abdomen engaged as this is a really deep back extension. If you'd like to stretch deeply into the glutes and the outer hips, come into a forward fold. Maybe that means resting on your forearms or perhaps lowering your head down. If you'd like to intensify this stretch, keep your front foot flexed and keep your shin parallel with the top edge of your mat. For a gentler variation, you can always relax your foot and guide your heel closer to the opposite hip. On your inhalation, mindfully rise up, return to downward dog for 1 breath. And let's prepare for our pigeon pose on the other side. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, left knee to the left wrist. Giving yourself a few moments to find a comfortable position, square off the hips, and maybe hinge forwards. Allowing yourself to surrender to this posture. Beautiful. On your next inhalation, elevate the torso. And let's return to our final down dog for this practice. Gifting yourself this opportunity to stretch out the posterior chain. And when you're ready, lowering the knees down and sinking your hips back, coming into a well-deserved child's pose. On your next inhalation, gently elevating the torso, interlacing your fingers together behind the back, opening up the chest, reaching your arms back. And let's again fold into our child's pose, keeping the arm bind, resting on your forehead, and guiding the bind overhead, feeling a beautiful opening for the shoulders, the upper chest. Inhale, rise up, gaze up, and gently release. Okay, friends, let's come into a comfortable seated position. Lengthening the spinal column, rolling the shoulders back and down, closing the eyes, softening the belly, gifting yourself this space to honor your practice, to recognize the tremendous courage and faith that you demonstrated in deciding to get on your mat today. On your next inhalation, reach the arms skywards, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's round off practice with one nourishing breath. Inhaling through the nostrils and exhaling through the mouth, letting it all go. Thank you so much for today. Sending you love and light. May you be well. Namaste.